Because of Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
and because of Jalen Ramsey, and because of Jonathan Taylor rumors, and because the Jets and the Dolphins are flashier teams right now. Let's just call it like it is. You say the word Buzzy. I look at that AFC East, and it's like, we love our Dolphins content. Tyreek Hill is out there talking, and we know that Tua is always a lightning rod for conversation, and they added real pieces this offseason when you add Jalen Ramsey. And then you look at the Jets, and it's not only us, it's the entire media world. I'm looking at Mike Greenberg posing for photos in Aaron Rodgers jerseys every day on Twitter, and I know that there's other networks that have their other talent, and the Jets are a ratings bonanza right now. Hell, the NFL made them do Hard Knocks because they're a ratings bonanza right now. So when you talk about buzzy AFC teams, it's a combination of, well, the Bills, yeah, we gave them their love last couple of years, and they didn't finish the job. Maybe one of these other teams will. People like new and shiny and flashy and famous. And I think it has to do with the cities as well. New York City and Miami are just different than Western New York at the moment. So the Bills have had several years of us talking them up in summer and being the hot team. This ain't that year. And if you listen to Coach McDermott, they're just fine with that. We'll see what happens week one when the flashy, famous, sexy, buzzy, Hard Knocks, popular team is hosting the quiet, unspoken about, do their own business, keep it internal, Buffalo Bills. I'm curious to see the final score of that game because I know both teams think that they're going to win that one.
Can you imagine if we get a Jets-Cowboys Super Bowl?
Oh, my gosh.
Like the four horsemen of the apocalypse will be riding in terms
Market
of the media.
mania.
It's a positive thing. It would just be like the media aspect of it would be out of control, and we'd be part of it. Listen, you remember the last chapter of a book the best. You remember the last scene in a movie. Off-season hype is built upon how you finished last season. The Bills are the perfect case study. A couple of years ago, to go to Arrowhead, the greatest loss in history. It was taken from you in 13 seconds in coin toss, and Josh Allen looked nuclear. So we spend the whole offseason being like, they're the ones to take out Mahomes, and it's great. Last season, that Bills-Bengals game was rough. Rough. That is how they ended it. I took my whole family. I was there at the game. My son, who was 8 at the time, had never been to an NFL game. It was his first game. The Bengals are up 14-0 in the first 10 seconds of the game. Calvin, my son, turns to me and goes, "Is this still practice?" And I go, "No, this is the real game." He's like, he thought they were like warming up. He didn't understand that this is for real. And I think the Bills thought they were still warming up too, because it was touchdown to Chase, Bills 3 and out, another touchdown, Bills 3 and out, and the game was over. That was it. There was really no comeback. It was nothing. It wasn't just inept. It was listless. And this is after a really sloppy playoff win against the Dolphins team that had their backup quarterback. And so that's what we took away from the Bills. And I saw a funny article online that was like, the Bills dynasty is finally over, like that they've had one, you know, like this of the hype, it's over. That was a really bad taste in their mouth, and it was an awful way to end it, and it felt like, guys, you made us look bad by hyping you. Not me, just generally. But I'll double back to my points. The best thing the Bills could possibly have happen to you is to have those expectations taken off you and put somewhere else. I don't think it's a town or a team or a group of talent that is better when the expectations are on them. They're better when they're doubted and they're disrespected. There's no buzz. If the Jets win that game, it's going to be like, yeah, we all kind of thought they were going to. There's not going to be this shock and awe. I think it's a good thing, but they ended the season horribly. That's the way it works in this business. The last taste you give us is the one we remember.
No doubt about it. I love that you referenced the game before where it was at 13 seconds because that's all we talked about that offseason. And I think when you talk about buzzy teams, you don't want to really do the same thing twice. So last offseason, it wasn't just our table that were talking about the Bills at NFL Network. 12 of the analysts all picked the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl. Not just make the Super Bowl, to actually win the Super Bowl. I was one of those 12. So I think all last offseason leading up to the year, we're just talking Bills, Bills, Bills. And you look at Gabe Davis, the way he finished that 2021 season, that playoff game going off, it just seemed like everything was trending in that direction. And I think, Kyle, to your point, when you look at the makeup of their team, you look at Sean McDermott as a head coach, and you look at Josh Allen as the star quarterback of their team, They're not looking to make headlines. They're not looking to make fun sound bites so that everybody's talking about them. So this is the way they want it to be, especially because their division, the Dolphins, the Jets, we're even talking about, we opened up today's show talking about the New England Patriots and their backup quarterback situation. Is it going to be Bailey Zappi? Is it going to be somebody else? And Buffalo is sitting there with one of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL. And we're not all saying, like, yeah, they're going to get to the Super Bowl. This is going to be their year, because we all thought it was going to be last year. And the fun thing to me is the topic when we talk about the Buffalo Bills is that we think it's over. Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, they don't like each other. Stephon Diggs doesn't want to be there. That's been the headline. So I think now they can use all of this, the lack of attention and then the attention that is coming their way has been negative. They can use all of that to build up to say, fellas, they're all counting us out. They're all looking for turmoil, for things that are tearing us down. Let's use all of that against them, and let's go out there and come together as a team and go win.
The turmoil and the counting them out is really fun to do in June, July, and August. I'm really curious next week, come prediction week, not just for our show, but for everybody, who actually is going to put it in writing that the Bills are not going to win this division or not be in the playoffs? I really want to know that, because I think for as much as fodder as there is about a lot of other teams and the Jets, like, now people have to put their names next to statements like, oh, I don't think the Bills are going to make the playoffs. You know they're going to make the play. Like, you have to look me in the eye and tell me you are truly convinced that they have fallen so far from grace.
I like this.
Every year, though, Jamie, there's a team that we just say, that's a playoff team, and then they miss the playoffs.
I like this statement, though, because in their division, if you say, I like the Dolphins this year, if you say, oh, well, the Jets are going to be good, I like what you're saying.
They are one of these teams that I think it's not because I believe, I'll stop making generalizations. I believe it's not because people think they have not fallen off the radar for me. It's because I actually respect where they have put themselves on the radar. And I think they have a firm grasp with the roster that they've retained, with the coaches that they've had, and the games that they've won. Last year was an emotional anomaly. It was wild, the things that team had to go through. If you can put, with the additions that they had at tight end and running back, and hopefully the defensive fixes that McDermott's going to have to do himself because Leslie Frazier left, I truly think that this team is they're not lacking buzz because they fell off. It's because I just assume that they're going to be there. So and that's why I'm not.
I'd say most years, it's not a clean sweep that the 4 division champions go back as division champions. So let me just put this out there hypothetically. Jaguars, Bengals, Bills, Chiefs.
See, I look more at the North. I have a problem with the North.
Bengals are the more fallible team. Which team is most fallible to fall off and not defend their title?
See, I look at the East as well. There's somebody that you're expecting that they're shooing. They're a lock. They're going to be in the playoffs. I'm not saying it's Buffalo. I'm just saying in general. Somebody's not going to make it. Something happens throughout the season, an injury or whatever, just doesn't click. I've gone back and forth about Buffalo, of a team. Maybe let's see what happens.
And I've done it too in my little spreadsheet where I'm like jockeying teams around. Every time I drop them down, it makes me uncomfortable. I have to put them back up. I do it with other teams, and I'm like, I think I can try that on for size. I can't do it.
Josh Allen is that good.
There's going to be AFC teams that we think of locks that are going to miss the playoffs entirely. It's just going to happen. I just look. The thing with Buffalo too is the world might have decided Burrow and Mahomes are better. Like they can't. They got to beat those two guys, and those guys run the league and they run the AFC. And Josh is great. And he's on the Madden cover. I think there's a perception out there that those two guys have become the thing, and you have to take them out. That's the only way they know that. They have to beat those guys. That's their destiny, or they'll just be an also-ran.